I'm San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg. I am a Trinity University alum, and I want you to know about my passion for these two vibrant communities. My alma mater is now a nationally recognized liberal arts university, offering fully integrated arts, humanities, STEM, and professional programs. Grounded in the liberal arts, Trinity graduates students who think critically, act meaningfully, and contribute confidently throughout their careers. As for San Antonio, Trinity is an oasis in the heart of a city that serves as a cultural bridge to the Americas. We are a diverse community that values inclusion and welcomes intellectual curiosity and spirited debate. We're a city that challenges convention and welcomes new ideas. Great things are happening at Trinity University, in San Antonio, and through all our connections to our multicultural world. Join me in being part of this exciting moment.
We've got a day full of basketball here for you on Tiger Network, and we are going to get started with the men's team back in town for the first time in nearly a month, and they get set to face the Geneva Golden Tornadoes, who you got to see here on Tiger Network yesterday. A thrilling game for them, coming up just short against the Southwestern Pirates, but they are back at it today, and we are expecting a good one, a high-scoring affair if it goes according to plan. For the Tigers, Ben Hanley, Jacob Harvey, Jacob Millhouse, A.J. Clark, and his first career start, you'll see him at center court, Nate Thompson. For the Geneva Golden Tornadoes, it is no secret who is starting, the same five that have been there all year long. And we are ready to go in San Antonio, and Thompson tips it to Clark to get us underway. I'm Brian Yanselson here, joined by Josh Muchigemba, and we are ready for this basketball bonanza. Millhouse trying to get us going with a three. It'll bounce off, but should be a great day on the hardwood, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had two fantastic games yesterday, both one-point games, both on one on the men's side, one on the women's. So fantastic day for us with two neutral games. Now the Tigers back on the hardwood here, first time in 17 days. So it'll be interesting to see what Trinity has. As Hanley drives nicely to the lane and gets the Tigers on the board first.
And nice to see Ben Hanley cutting to the rim, playing quickly. That is how he likes to be. And for fans at home who either have seen the Tigers or haven't seen the Tigers, a sign that things are going right is they are playing quickly, they are moving the basketball, and they are scoring at will. On the other end, that is Ryan Rachik getting the first points for Geneva, but you see right here how quickly the Tigers like to go. Hanley gets the ball over to Harvey in the corner. It'll be just off for the sophomore. But don't take many breaks from this one because it'll go quickly. Two teams that like to score. Rachik underneath to his brother. It'll be lost out of bounds, belonging to Trinity.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier Nate Thompson getting his first start here for the Tigers. I kind of like that because yesterday what we saw in the game against Southwestern was they really established their presence down on the low block with Zach Black and Lichtenfield to, kind of take over that game, and that's what kind of kept them alive as that game went on. Geneva with a very strong comeback with Tipton, both Tiptons leading the way as A.J. Clark knocking down the three. But it's great for Trinity to come maybe establish that low block presence and see what they can do, similar to what they saw yesterday.
Yeah, Nate Thompson, the tallest player on this Trinity roster at 6'9", 210 pounds, sophomore from Austin, Texas. And this Trinity team has dealt with a lot of injuries, a lot of sickness as well. We'll take you through some of the developments as we have this game and tomorrow's game. Tipton from the corner, off the rim, and Hanley will get a chance to go quickly. He is one-on-one, takes it all the way. Great move and finish for Ben Hanley. So we are already seeing number 3, the super senior, and how electric he can be when he is back and healthy, which he is now. He missed so much of last year with an ankle injury, and even when he was playing, telling me he was never fully healthy. And so now he feels like he's himself, and he's a player that utilizes speed and cuts to the basket, slashes and dashes, and we're seeing it here. This time it is Millhouse going to the paint, pivoting, and rejected by Rachik. Great defensive play there. Now the younger Rachik brother flings it up there, tipped in there to recover, and he's going to get fouled. Meanwhile, the younger Rachik brother still on the court holding what looks like his knee.
Might be his lower left ankle as he's grabbing down low. And we saw, and this is Mark Rachik, but we saw yesterday Lyle Tipton going down kind of in a similar manner, and he was able to bounce back up quickly. And this is good to see here as Rachik's able to walk off on his own power. Obviously a little limp there, and you can tell a little frustration that he has, but maybe some of those, what you want to avoid is obviously the high ankle sprain there. I don't know if you kind of mentioned it yesterday, you kind of get a little bit used to rolled ankles. I don't know if you ever really get used to rolled ankles, but I think it is something that, like, as you start to roll your ankle, you're able to, kind of find some solution to and not make it as bad as possible. When you hit that high ankle sprain, there's really nothing you can do, and then that's going to keep you out for a couple of weeks. So happy to see him walk off, and then hopefully we see him back out on the floor pretty soon.
Absolutely. He did walk off on his own power as Tipton splits the free throws. Harvey in the corner. This time it is good for Jacob Harvey. He leads the team in three-point percentage, so get used to it. 43% from beyond the arc. And the Tigers off to a fast start. 10-3 here over Geneva. Ball nearly taken away from Raychick, and now it is Millhouse with the steal. Harvey in transition, puts it down, finds Clark. Great pass to Barry off the glass. No good on that one, but great ball movement. Tigers really doing a nice job distributing it. Approaching the first media timeout here in San Antonio. Isaac Massey leading point, and the ball is cut off again, this time by Harvey. Ends up with Clark. Clark all the way to the rim. It scoops in, but the foul looks to be away from the basket before he put the shot up. Grayson Herr checking in, Abdullah Roberts as well. Millhouse and Hanley will head to the bench. So you've got Herr, Roberts, and Barry in from the bench to join Clark and Harvey, the starters. And Barry here going to post up Raychick. He's got some size, but it'll be a travel. We've got Braxton Barry at 6'8" there on the 6'5" Raychick. But the travel will give it to Geneva as we hit the first media timeout here in San Antonio. Trinity 10, Geneva 3. But we'll stick around right here with you to continue setting up this matchup that we are so excited about. The Trinity Tigers coming into today 5-4. They opened up conference play with a couple of tough losses on the road, going to Shreveport and falling to Centenary, going to Houston and falling to St. Thomas. So not the start that anybody wanted, Josh, but that's a tough road trip. Jimmy Smith telling me he doesn't think many teams are going to make it unscathed from that trip to Louisiana and Houston. But now the Tigers are back home and wanting to get going a little bit.
Yeah, the team started off highly ranked, top 20 early on in the season, but basically, trying to find themselves, I would say. 5-4 start with the last two losses, but from that point forward, great to see a huge run here early on. 4 minutes in, 10 points. Scoring had been something that we hadn't really seen, but also first halves have been, lack of a better term, a little dreadful lately. And so it's great to, if you're a Trinity fan, it's obviously great to see the guys come out, especially 17-day layoff, be able to come out and, attack the rim, get some easy shots, and, put 10 points on the board in the first 4 minutes. It's been a fantastic start here for Trinity.
No, you are spot on with the importance of starting well, because at Centenary they were blitzed 17-2, and they were able to win the second half and recover, but the hole was just too deep as a foul called here on Trinity. And then you go to St. Thomas just a couple of days later, and you're down 24 at the half. Again, Trinity ended up outscoring St. Thomas in the second half by 10, but it was just too big a deficit to overcome. So this 10-3 start has to make Coach Smith very happy, as Isaac Massey gets a good delivery down low and puts it in the bucket for two. Harvey thought about a three, now goes with it. Can't quite bounce in, and the rebound goes to Berdovich. So Harvey feeling confident with his shot, made one, missed a couple. Raychick finds Tipton in the paint. He's stuck, loses the dribble, able to find Berdovich with the shot clock half gone now. Berdovich has Harvey right on top of him, but he drops it off to Raychick, who can't roll it home.
A tremendous defense here from Trinity. They got a nice, easy layup attempt, and it rolled out, fortunately for the Tigers. But the swarming defense, especially on the perimeter, not giving up anything cheap. Yesterday in the Southwestern game, we saw that Geneva really was able to get back into it when Southwestern sort of relaxed on the perimeter. They were able to knock down some big threes, and so far kind of preventing that with a nice swarming defense.
Great hustle by Abdullah Roberts. Who will it belong to? It'll go to Trinity. So Abdullah Roberts, newly in the game, missed a three-point attempt there on the previous possession. But are you seeing this ball movement by Trinity? Looking like the old school San Antonio Spurs moving it around the key.
Yeah, and, you know, if they can find the open shooter, eventually some of these shots will start to fall. We've seen a couple of misses here from outside. But, yeah, like I said, I mean, if you're a Trinity fan, you've got to really enjoy what you've seen for this team coming out. You know, the last couple of times out, you felt like maybe the team's not where we thought they were going to be this year. This sort of looks like what we expected in the preseason.
Harvey finding some help, gets it to her, and now Barry will try the post up again. This time more force and goes right over Raychick. That is exactly what he wants to do today.
And similar to last night, Southwestern using that low block.
And here's another steal. Her has 3 on 2. He takes it himself, gets contact, and count it for Grayson Herr. These Tigers are aggressive defensively. They have forced 6 Geneva turnovers, and they capitalize on that one. We'll see if Herr can complete the 3-point play. But I think you're absolutely right, Josh. This is the Trinity basketball team that we were hoping and expecting to see. That ranking in the preseason, the first time they've been ranked to start the year since 2004. Really high expectations, picked to win the conference this year. And even though it's been a tough start, they still see everything right there in front of them.
And on the other side of the ball, if you're Geneva, it kind of feels a little deja vu. And yesterday they were down 21-5. Today down 15-5 here early on. The foul is going to go against Trinity. And Geneva might be going to the line here. I think that was in the act of shooting. And so the foul on Williams. And I believe Bertovich to the line here. So knocks it down. So, you know, a little bit similar to yesterday for Geneva, but they also showed that, you know, once they get back into that rhythm, I mean, from the field, they're 2 of 7, so just under 30%. Once they start to get a better feel for their shots, then they can, you know, get back into this one pretty quickly. So if you're Trinity, you've got to be excited about the big lead early on, but also, you know, don't sleep on Geneva because they're a team that's going to be able to overcome a 9-point deficit pretty easily.
And if they are going to overcome it, it'll be largely in the hands of Tipton, who misses the 3, but Bertovich fighting for the board and getting it, so Geneva will get a 3rd opportunity after the missed free throw. Tipton being played closely. Bertovich really testing the calls here of the referees, nearly traveling a couple of times, but it'll go to Peyton Triplett, who knocks down the mid-range.
And Geneva scoring 2 off of that possession. I know some people might be looking at the over and back, think that the official said it wasn't a controlled tip, and I'd have to disagree because, you know, what you're trying to do there is put it back to the 2 guys that you have deep, and you know, that one definitely went back and over, but Geneva able to answer and knock the lead back down to 7. You know, Trinity kind of going through the cycle. I think we're going to see this quite a bit tonight. A lot of substitutions, keeping the guys' legs fresh. You know, they have battled some illness over the last couple of weeks. So, you know, Coach Smith talking about this is also a great opportunity. You know, you start off not as your expectations. You're kind of already out of at-large bid opportunities. So see what you've got down the roster and you know, let these guys gain some experience.
One guy who has plenty of experience is Ben Hanley, and he is utilizing it so far. 3 for 3 from the floor, 6 points, and a nice move to finish that last possession. Finds Trinity up 9. Bertovich being aggressive so far, has to kick it back out. It'll end up with Trevor Tipton, and it'll bounce off the rim down to the other Tipton, who gets it to go with the and one opportunity coming up. So for those who tuned in yesterday on the Geneva side, you heard us talking about it. But for Trinity fans who are new to the Golden Tornadoes, you have to know that there are 2 sets of brothers in the starting lineup. You've got Trevor Tipton and Lyle Tipton. Lyle, the one shooting the free throw right now, and he completes the 3-point play. And then you've got Mark and Ryan Raychick. So 4 of the 5 starters are brothers. They've become very familiar with each other, and they've gotten off to a great start this year. They were 8-1 coming down to San Antonio before falling to Southwestern yesterday. And it was a tough, tough loss. Could have gone either way. It came down to literally the final second as they try to find Bertovich in the corner here. Now he steps out. And it'll end up in the hands of Tipton. They'll have to get going in a hurry on this possession, and it's taken away by Hanley. Kicks it out in front to Clark. Stutter step. And lots of contact there over the back. Will go against Trinity.
Yeah, Williams will pick up his second foul there. And you mentioned the loss yesterday as we hit the under 12-minute timeout. We'll stay here and just chat more about this one. You know, it is one of those things. Lyle Tipton had 28 points at the time. He's averaging right at 28. He got a good turnaround jumper look on the final shot attempt with about 1.1 seconds to play off the inbounds pass. And, you know, just kind of hit the front of the rim, and it just wouldn't go for him. But it was one of those situations where, you know, for Geneva, you kind of had everything set up. You had the last shot opportunity. It was going for the win. Put it into the shooter, you know, that you prefer to have, put it into his hands. You know, so I'd imagine that, you know, they're a little bitter about what happened yesterday. And then coming out with a little bit of a, you know, lackluster start to this one. You see the field goal percentage on your screen, 36.4%. So they've been increasing the last couple of shots. They're 2 of their last 4 after starting off 2 for 7. You know, like I tell, you know, Trinity fans, don't sleep on Geneva. They're going to crawl back into this one, and it's probably going to be a lot quicker than you would assume. But for the Tigers, great to have that early lead. But right now, Lyle Tipton with 4 points. You know, so if you're a Trinity fan, you know, he averages near 30. And you know, guys who average near 30, they're usually going to get there somehow. And so for Trinity, it's just a matter of how they can contain him. And then, you know, we saw it yesterday. Geneva put 4 scores in double figures, so they've got a group of people that can be counted on other than him. So it's going to be a tough defensive day for Trinity.
Golden Tornadoes kick it across the floor quickly after the full court press shown by Trinity. Tipton, though, missing that final buzzer beater opportunity. But right before that, on the previous possession, his triplet can't get the little hook shot to go. He did hit the 3 that looked to be the game winner. And we all thought maybe Southwestern would call a timeout as Clark draws the foul here. It was with 10 seconds left, Lyle Tipton hitting a 3-pointer to put Geneva up 1. And Southwestern had the timeouts remaining, but they decided to go quickly down the floor and drove it all the way without calling a timeout. And it was the layup that put Southwestern up. Then we all were wondering how much time is left. Geneva had that final opportunity and got it in the hands of the second best scorer in the country, just couldn't connect. Double dribble called on Ty Williams there, and he can't believe it.
I think Ty's saying it was knocked out of his hands, so it shouldn't be a double dribble. But ball back to the Golden Tornadoes. One of the big things that I've noticed, too, when we talk about Tipton, Lyle Tipton, the big thing that I've noticed him doing early on here is he is crashing almost every board offensively. And we saw it earlier. He was able to get a kind of a bounce and a half in between. Looked like Trinity was going to have an easy rebound. Kind of had an extra half bounce on it, and it put him in a position to grab the easy board and make the putback. And then he drew contact. So he was able to make a 3-point play out of just crashing the board on the second chance. And, you know, it's those types of plays that I think, you know, also are going to be key for both teams. If Geneva can continue to do that and kind of get those second chance opportunities, they're going to stay a lot closer in this one as they've started to fall behind a little bit. But then also Trinity, you know, how can they, you know, keep that presence in the low block? Southwestern was able to, you know, kind of control the low block yesterday.
And there's the low block there as you talk about it. Perfect timing. Braxton Berry dominating down low. He's got a couple going up against Raychick, and he'll try to complete the 3-point play. And Coach Jimmy Smith saying that Braxton Berry has the size, he has the athleticism, just has to now put it all together and has shown the potential to do so. One of the games that really stuck out to me, got to go see their exhibition against UTSA. the Division I team here in San Antonio, and those guys are huge. Of course, they're Division I players, and Braxton Berry was going right up against them, the likes of Jacob Germany, and scoring pretty easily at times, so he's got the opportunity and the ability. Now he just has to do it on a consistent basis, and he has done so in the first half. Trinity up 8 with 10 minutes gone by in the first half. Tipton, over to Tipton, thinks about it. Now we'll have to put it up. 2 seconds on the shot clock, gets his own miss. There he is on the offensive board and puts it back up. As you were talking about, so your analysis has been perfect. Everything you've mentioned has come to fruition. Here a Zach Fenn 3 in transition off to the left of the rim. And Geneva will try to keep cutting into this deficit. Watch out for Fenn, though. You see his active hands. Averaging nearly 2 steals a game, actually exactly 2 steals a game. Has a total of 18 in 9 games thus far. We'll have Ben Hanley and Jacob Harvey back in for the Tigers. They join Fenn, Clark, and Barry. And it'll be Lyle Tipton to bring it in from the sideline.
Trinity now 2 of 7 from downtown. Geneva 0 for 3. I think Geneva, the outside shot favors them a little bit more, even though they haven't been able to knock one down yet. Trinity, if they can start making the outside shot, that'll be great. But again, there's so much of an advantage on the interior that I'd almost love to see the possessions work their way through. If you get the ball movement open 3, absolutely take it. But so far I've seen about 3 or 4 3-pointers here for Trinity where they've come down, shot it early, have nobody lined up for a rebound, and it's just been an easy, almost a turnover-like back to Geneva. If they can, work this around, attack the inside like this. I think this is where Trinity is going to have so much more of an advantage here rather than trying to come down and shoot early from the outside.
A.J. Clark earning the trip to the charity stripe. He's got 3 points early on, as well as a rebound and a steal. When you look at A.J. Clark, you look not just in one column of the box score. You have to keep looking and keep looking because he does it all. He leads the team in rebounds, leads the team in assists, is right behind there in steals as well. And this year he is scoring at a consistent pace as well, the second leading scorer behind Tanner Brown, who is not in there today. He is dealing with an injury, but Clark, the fifth-year senior, you get a close look at him here. Everyone I've gotten to talk to over the last week or so, extremely happy to have him and Ben Hanley back for a fifth year. Just the tremendous experience and leadership that they bring. And he splits his trip to the line. But we've got plenty of stories to share about him and Hanley. So stick around, not only today, but throughout the season. So many home games left that we are thankful for. Should be a fun time. 3 no good collected by Hanley. Harvey surveying his options, takes it to the hoop. But a nice defensive play by Bertovich, who grabs the defensive board. Triplet, thought about top of the key. Bertovich taking a step in. Kicked out. Now nice pass to Trevor Tipton in the corner, and that's what they want. Trevor Tipton getting on the board first.
Prolific shooter in his own right, and Trinity's going to have some sort of an answer for him on the perimeter if he gets going.
Clark tried to answer, couldn't. Harvey fights back though, gets the ball, puts up the 3 and drills it. Jacob Harvey off the steal, takes it himself beyond the arc and hits it. And that's how you know Jacob Harvey is feeling good. Triplet inside. Does he take it on Jacobs? Will throw it away. Out of bounds. Ball belongs to Trinity. And we are under 8 with the media timeout. But since we have so much to talk about, we'll stick around right here. And mentioning Harvey, you can tell he feels himself when he's hitting those threes. Well, he very much has not been feeling himself. You alluded to it earlier, Josh. This team has been dealing with some sickness. They had a flu bug that hit pretty much the entire team, including head coach Jimmy Smith, and he told me he hasn't felt that sick in a really, really long time. He said that easily for 2 weeks he was just not having it, and Jacob Harvey was also one of the ones that felt it, and he told me, and he said it's okay to share, that he lost 10 pounds from having the flu, and he just was not underneath himself. He didn't have his legs, didn't have the conditioning, even when he was fighting his way back. And so this little 3-week break has given him the opportunity to train, to eat again. And he said it was so hard for me not to eat, but he went about 3 days without eating, which resulted in losing 10 pounds. But now he is healthy, regained that weight. And in case you're wondering, he credits a lot of it to Pluckers. He said his parents brought him some Pluckers, chicken tenders, because that's what he was craving the most when he wasn't feeling himself. And so thank you, Pluckers, for providing Jacob Harvey with the wings to fly back into Calgar Gym. So it's a great place. I don't know if you've tried it yourself, Josh.
I haven't been yet, and got a few options down here, but I'll have to add it. If he continues to knock down threes like that, I think everybody will be going there.
I've been going for a long time. Finally down in San Antonio, started up in Austin at UT. But like you said, maybe it'll become the go-to when the Tigers score 100 points. We used to ask for tacos, but now maybe we'll ask for Pluckers. And coming out of the timeout, Zach Fenn driving to the basket and earning himself a trip to the line.
Yeah, and a great job here so far. That's the 8th team foul for Geneva. Trinity getting close to that double bonus already here with about 7.5 left in the first half. So, I think similar, the game plan, kind of after watching last night's game, I don't know if Coach Smith evolved it into this after seeing some of the things that Southwestern was able to do, or if looking at them on tape coming into this game, it was kind of going to be, the main plan. But I think yesterday Southwestern and today Trinity both kind of executing those things well. Draw the fouls on Geneva. They will reach in, they will commit the foul, and then try to work it down low and take that advantage from the inside. And right now it's got Trinity out to a 9-point lead. You can't argue with the results.
And on Geneva's side, you're seeing a little bit of hesitation and maybe forcing too many shots from deep. You had an opportunity closer to the basket for Trevor Tipton, and instead he kicked it out to Trey Barker, and you could kind of hear the bench from Geneva saying, shoot it yourself to Trevor. He had an open look, but he passed it up. Now Levine will be fouled as he puts up a 3. So Griffin Levine, the latest off the bench for Trinity.
Another good ball movement, open shot attempt here for the Tigers. That's the kind of thing you want to see. You don't want to see anything forced. Work through the offense. You're going to get your guys to pop out and be open.
First of 3, good for Griffin Levine, the senior from Dallas, Texas. He came over to Trinity a year ago after playing at Pratt Institute in New York. Hits the second. Averaged over 20 points up in New York. A prolific scorer who is now on the Tigers roster for the second year. And he'll try to complete 3 free throws, and he does. So a nice job by Griffin Levine to extend this out to an 8-0 run for the Trinity Tigers. They're up double digits now on Geneva. And the defense has been active. Look at the arms of Harvey, of Levine up in the air. They are bouncing around, forcing tough passes and forcing tough shots like that one from Nick Millian. First we've seen of him today. Now he has to deal with Hanley and just simply cannot. Ben Hanley is feeling it today. Make it 8 now for the super senior. And the Tigers are up 14. Foul going to be called on Jacobs to slow things down a bit, but they are flying today, Josh.
Yeah, I love the approach by Hanley. It's a lot of what we saw, yesterday out of Tipton once Geneva started making their comeback. Just attack the rim, be that guy. Once the ball's in my hands, I want to be the guy that's going to score. And then we saw Tipton just come right back and pretty much do the same thing, driving to the lane, drawing the contact. Couldn't get the and 1 to go, but, trying to earn the 2 back at the line here.
Tigers have done a great job limiting Lyle Tipton to just these free throw attempts for the most part. Hasn't connected a whole lot from the field. Gets that second one to go. Harvey looking for Grant Jacobs down low. Jacobs posting up off the glass. Couldn't finish. Gets another shot at it for the Tigers. Roberts open lane, and he completes it. Abdullah Roberts taking advantage of the second opportunity won by Jacobs, and got to be careful, nearly a backcourt violation. Thought there was a travel there. Referee saying there was not control of the ball when he moved his feet, and now a foul going to be earned by Geneva. So a lot going on down low, but it ends up in the favor of the Golden Tornadoes.
You can disagree with the call, but the official was right there making the call. Didn't have control immediately, so that's what you like to see. You know, he was right there, letting everybody know. So kudos to them. And a nice ovation here for Grant Jacobs as he departs for Nate Thompson coming back in.
A.J. Clark in.
A.J. Clark will come back in, and what you're seeing too, very different to what we saw at the beginning of last year on Tiger Network. Coach Smith going with rotations of 5, where you knew exactly who was going to come in at certain times. Well, this year, he still needs to find the rotations, is what he said. He needs to find the right combination of guys, so it is just 1 for 1, 2 for 2, not that whole line change like we see in hockey sometimes. But someone who will consistently be there no matter what is A.J. Clark. Gets 2 more to keep the lead up to 14 for Trinity. 5:33 to go. And they're applying tremendous pressure near the half-court line once the Golden Tornadoes cross it. So not quite that full court press, but a different look that's giving Geneva problems. No problem there, though, for Lyle Tipton. 2 more for him. He enters double digits.
Yeah, we talked about it. I mean, Trinity's done a great job of limiting Lyle Tipton. The guy scores 28 a game, and he's already got 10. I mean, he's going to find ways to put points on the board, you know, and it's come at the free throw line, but then also, you know, a bucket here, a bucket there, and nice defense there from Trinity, leading to another fast break.
Hanley again. He's a freight train that you cannot stop, and he enters double digits himself.
Bucket by Ben Hanley.
It is so nice to see Ben Hanley looking confident and aggressive. Tipton will try it from the free throw line. Can't get it to go, and here come the Tigers, up 14, looking for more. Hanley over to Harvey, 4-3. Bounces out, but there is Thompson using his size. Levine recovers it. Kick to Harvey in the corner. It's good. Jacob Harvey with another 3. That is 3 for number 10. And the lead has ballooned to 17.
Yeah, it's ballooned because that's 4 straight possessions here for Trinity that's ended with a bucket.
A.J. Clark is first. Team foul number 8.
A foul on the other end will send Geneva to the line. They're in the bonus, so the 1-and-1 coming up. Berdovich getting an extended run here after we saw Mark Rachik go down in the first couple of minutes with that ankle injury. His first free throw, good, earning himself a second. For a while yesterday, it was only 4 Golden Tornadoes who had scored, all of them in the starting unit, but Berdovich became one of 2 others that got in the box score. Nearly took it away here, but then running into the official and keeping it with Trinity. Abdullah Roberts will take his turn in the block, and looked like Tipton fell pretty easily there, so a seemingly good call on the blocking foul. And we will head to the under 4 media timeout. We'll take our first break on Tiger Network, but we'll be right back for the end of the first half. We are back from the break on Tiger Network, and the Tigers don't really want to take a break. They are up by 15 here, 39-24, with a trip to the line coming up for Abdullah Roberts, the junior from Houston, Texas. He has not scored in the last couple of games, but he has a couple already today, and will look to make it 3, which he does there, and can make it 4. But one of a few guys who has been here now a couple of years, Tigers looking to him, currently off the bench to provide production. Misses the second, but look who's there. A.J. Clark cleans it up, and you can see the smile on his face. A little too easy there, if you ask Geneva.
Yeah, I'm sure they won't be happy about that. Those are things that are just kind of fundamental in basketball. You've got to be able to block out and get the easy rebounds off the opponent's free throws.
Massey trying to get something going. Trevor thought about it. Now it'll be Massey. Can't hit the 3. We saw him hit a couple of deep ones yesterday, but nothing is falling for the Tornadoes. Levine with a great fake and will earn the foul. He faked the pass as he reached the top of the key and then had an open lane. Decided to kick it out to her, and now we'll head to the line once more.
And Trinity into the double bonus now. They'll be shooting 2 the rest of the half.
And one of the biggest stories of the season, and one of the big reasons that they have not started the way they want to for Trinity, has been at the free throw line. It has not been very pretty. But Levine, 5 for 5 from the line. The Tigers, 10 for 13. And they're going to be thrilled with that number and hope to keep it up, because they have been shooting 63% from the line. One of the worst numbers in Division III. Coach Smith telling me they have tried to mimic pressure in practice, trying to create competitions to replicate what it feels like in a game. He doesn't really understand what has happened at the free throw line, but maybe it has worked, what they've done in practice. Robert spins, finds Levine for 3, a little strong. Board belongs to Geneva, almost off the back of the Golden Tornadoes, but they'll keep it. Triplet over to Bertovich, and they'll slow it down. Rorick calling for it. He's stuck in the corner and taken away by Roberts. That's not where you want to be. Oh, but now Bertovich back with it. So the ball exchanging hands a couple of times here. Triplet in the center of the court. Finds Massey, who steps forward. Easy jump shot for him, and he knocks it down.
Yeah, first field goal in almost 3 minutes for Geneva. Meanwhile, on the other side, Trinity, 5 of their last 7.
Levine driving, kicking. Now Clark faking it out. Back to Roberts. Can he seal it? Yes, he can. Unselfish basketball being played right now by the Tigers. You had, what, 2, 3, maybe 4 open shots there, but they kept giving it to the next guy, and finally Roberts wrapping it up with 2, and the lead is 20.
Yeah, and Trinity, I mean, Geneva right now has no answer for the inside paint, the low block. They are just getting absolutely beat down on the inside. And that's fine at times, but when you're not able to come out and knock down your threes, that's going to be very, very difficult to stay competitive in the game. They're 9 of 11 at the foul line, but just 1 for 8 from downtown are the Golden Tornadoes. And that's pretty much the 20-point lead here for the Tigers. They've been attacking the inside, 16 of 31 field goals now, 52%. And 4 of 12 from downtown. So as they've been able to develop that, inside presence, that has allowed the open man after everybody collapses down, able to knock down some shots. But I think it's just, Geneva has not been shooting particularly well, and it's just been too easy for the Tigers on the inside.
We'll see if they can do something in the final minute and a half of the first half. A nice dish there from Triplet to Rorick, 2 guys who typically don't see a ton of playing time. This is a team that relies on their starting 5 more than most other teams. But a couple of their reserves showing up early. Matthews collects his own miss off the board twice, can't get it to go. But more good looks for the Trinity Tigers down low. Their lead is 18 as we approach a minute left It'll be triplet out to Berdovich off the tip.
And once again, Fenn with his hands knocking it around.
Massey off the front of the rim, and it ends up with Fenn. Slowing the pace down just a bit in transition, and Harvey will set up the offense. Matthews holding on to it while there's movement off the ball. Now Hanley, other side of the court to Harvey. And it's taken away from Triplet.
Yeah, pass just came in a little too late. You got to meet him there as he hits the block.
Geneva won't get the final shot, but they're trying to milk it down and get to the locker room as quickly as possible. Massey in control of it here. Berdovich dealing with those hands of Fenn. Got to be careful. Clock down to 5. Massey won't end up with a shot at all. Fenn, Hanley 2-on-1. Hanley finishes it, and that'll be how we wrap up the half. A buzzer beater attempt from full court is no good for Geneva, and it is fitting that Hanley gets the final bucket of the half. He leads the Tigers with 12 points, and Trinity has a 20-point lead. What a start for the Trinity Tigers, and they'll hope to continue it. A very different story from the past couple at Centenary at St. Thomas. They had to climb from behind in the second half. Now they'll try to protect it, and we'll be here for it as you get a look at some of the first half replays. They'll want to replay it over and over and over, and we'll see if they do. Join us in 14 and a half minutes on Tiger Network for the second half.
I'm San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg. I am a Trinity University alum, and I want you to know about my passion for these two vibrant communities. My alma mater is now a nationally recognized liberal arts university, offering fully integrated arts, humanities, STEM, and professional programs. Grounded in the liberal arts, Trinity graduates students who think critically, act meaningfully, and contribute confidently throughout their careers. As for San Antonio, Trinity is an oasis in the heart of a city that serves as a cultural bridge to the Americas. We are a diverse community that values inclusion and welcomes intellectual curiosity and spirited debate. We're a city that challenges convention and welcomes new ideas. Great things are happening at Trinity University, in San Antonio, and through all our connections to our multicultural world. Join me in being part of this exciting moment.
Welcome back to Tiger Network, where it has been all Tigers so far. Trinity 48, Geneva 28. After one of the most explosive halves of offense we have seen from these Trinity Tigers this year, they came into today 5-4, 0-2 in conference play, going up against a Geneva team that was 8-2, but Trinity has been the team that has come out firing. But Geneva will have the ball first, and it is Bertovich who is with the starting unit, misses badly there to start the half, but he is in for the younger Raychik brother who went out with an ankle injury very early, and now Bertovich has taken over, and he couldn't stick defensively there with A.J. Clark, who gets an easy 2 to start things off, and the Tigers are at 50. But you and I were very, very impressed, Josh, with how these Tigers started this game. A jump ball here. We'll give it to Trinity, and you see already first minute of the second half how aggressive they are, diving to the floor and fighting for every ball.
And as you say, diving for the loose ball, that was Lyle Tipton, who has now hobbled off the floor here for Geneva, and he did have that ankle injury in the game yesterday, so hopefully that's not something that's still lingering. As Hanley attacking the rim. Now he comes up hobbling, and he goes straight over to the trainer. If he leaves here, he might be done for the day, because he'll need to come in and shoot this free throw. Wouldn't be surprised if maybe Jimmy takes a timeout to see. So they have an injured player. So they're going to allow Geneva to figure out who they wants to shoot. And I think he just selected Nate Thompson. Honestly, no surprise.
But you can really feel the silence in Calgar Gym. Just so unfortunate to see Hanley jump off the court like he did, hobbling straight to the trainer. We talked all first half about how happy he has been, how happy Coach Smith has been to have him back healthy. He dealt with that ankle injury all last year. He played through it, ended up finishing the season, but then had ankle surgery immediately after the season concluded, and has worked extremely hard to rehab it, work it back. And now just have to hope that it was more of a gut reaction. Maybe he feels the fear of injuring it again. But it did not look good as he got the basket and took a hard fall. So just have to hope for the absolute best for Ben Hanley. It'll be Nate Thompson at the line. And he completes the three-point play. And an eruption from the Trinity bench and faithful. Thompson showing, you shouldn't have selected me to shoot the free throw.
It's such a big moment for Thompson to have to step into. And you haven't shot here to start the second half, and you kind of get selected as like the guy least likely to make one from the other team, and goes in there and proves it.
Millhouse taking it straight to the paint and gets a pair himself. That'll be the first points for Jacob Millhouse. So Thompson and Millhouse, two starters in this unit who did not score in the first half, getting on the board and extending the lead to 27.
Yeah, 7-0 run here to start the half for the Tigers. They just, it's almost as if they didn't go into the halftime locker room.
Yeah, we said they probably didn't want to take a break, and they sure have it. A.J. Clark misses the little teardrop attempt. Bertovich taking it quickly out to Massey. In the middle of four Tigers, gets it to go. Nice move by Massey to end that 7-0 run in the first 2 minutes. A.J. Clark now trying to direct traffic. We've got two big men in the middle of the court. It'll be Roberts out to Harvey. Harvey feeling good, and why wouldn't he be? Another three for Jacob Harvey. Make it 4 on the day. He has 12 points, and they are all courtesy of three-point shots. The sophomore from Huffman, Texas, just outside of Houston, has it all working today. Triplet caught with no one to help. Now Bertovich from deep connects. Nice job by him. But the Tigers looking to waste 0 time. Harvey thought about it for a second. Continues to think about it, but he'll push the offense forward. Seeing a lot of ball movement away from the plate. Swinging it around the arch. It'll be Clark. Short on the 3. Nice job by Clark, stopping that transition opportunity with his foot. It'll stay with Geneva. 3 minutes gone by here. Trinity up 25 over a Geneva team that came into San Antonio feeling very confident. The 3 attempt for Bertovich, no good, and he's going to be called for the offensive foul. Bertovich filling in for Mark Raychick, who went out with that ankle injury, and he is someone who is very capable of scoring. He scored 1 yesterday. That was his first time scoring since December 3rd, but back in November, he had a couple of games in a row against Allegheny and Franciscan in which he scored 14 and 16. So the Golden Tornadoes looking to him to provide some offense off the bench now. Roberts going up against Raychick, the older Raychick brother, and he gets 2. But the play at the basket for the Tigers has been impressive from Barry, from Roberts. Then you've got the likes of Hanley, who has cut all game long before going out in this half. They are not taking any shot for granted, getting easy looks. Can they get one here? It'll be thrown away and tipped out by the white. So it'll go to the black jerseys of Geneva. Thompson will check out. And in comes Braxton Berry. Meanwhile, for Geneva, Nick Millian saw a little bit of time in the first half. This is just the second game he has appeared in. Has not played since November 26th. And so now both teams going to people they maybe didn't expect to. This little half-court pressure continues for Trinity. They meet the Golden Tornadoes at the half-court line. Massey will draw the foul.
That'll take us to our under-16 media timeout. And Brian, I've got a couple of questions for you. Geneva, north of Pittsburgh, right?
North of Pittsburgh, Beaver Falls.
So north of Pittsburgh, not anywhere near Tornado Alley, right? Okay, so how do they come up with the name of Golden Tornadoes?
Seems like you listened yesterday when I teased that I would explain that name. So I hope you're ready for it. It's a good one. My favorite thing, not only seeing new teams and just new players, new coaches getting to have all sorts of conversations, but learning new mascots. And Golden Tornadoes, I had to find the story. And there is a story, of course. So it goes back to 1914 on the campus of Geneva College in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. A tornado ripped through campus and actually ended up ripping off the gold shingles off of their main academic building. They called it Old Main is how they refer to that building still today. It is still there, but the gold shingles are not there because the tornado took them off. And so they decided to nickname their sports teams the Golden Tornadoes because of the tornado ripping off the golden shingles.
Very nice. It's just not every day that you would find a team so far north that would have tornadoes as part of their name, and pretty fascinating story.
You never know what you're going to learn when you're researching for Division III college basketball.
And you said that happened in 1914?
1914.
Geneva's been around for quite a while.
They sure have. And we're not done with stories about Geneva. We have even a story about why they're called Geneva. But we'll save that. There's still 15 and a half minutes here. Can't give everything away. Geneva trying their best to blow their way back into this one, but it's been a struggle. Raychick, offensive foul. Great positioning there for Barry. Standing stall standing tall like a statue there.
Yeah, Barry hit that mark before Raychik went up with his shot. And then as Raychik continued on with his floater, landed about 4 feet in front of where he left it off at, so he's not going to get the positioning.
Harvey with a step back and drills it.
5 of 8 now from downtown.
The lead is 30 for the Trinity Tigers. Million, no good on the jump shot. Here come the Tigers. Harvey has Matthews. Takes the floater himself. Will it bounce in? No. Tried to pull the Tony Parker there, but just off a little bit. Geneva. Massey stops the ball. Raychik from 3. Off on the rim. Tapped out by Roberts, so it'll stay with Geneva. And you've got 2 more substitutions on the way for Geneva. But a very noticeably absent Lyle Tipton. We saw him hobble off a little bit earlier, and he has not returned. And with a 30-point deficit, you have to wonder if he will return at all.
Yeah, he's currently sitting on the floor at the end of the team bench. And our view is a little obstructed from up here. That can't tell if he's having any work done to the ankle or not, but definitely hobbled off. Again, yesterday in the game against Southwestern, he went down for a few minutes. He was out of the game. He'd gotten up, walked off on his own power, which was great. Came back, took the last second shot and all that, but just hasn't looked the same here today.
Not at all. He's someone who averages 28 points a game, the second highest mark in all of Division III. But he was held quietly in the first half and has been out for most of this second half, with his team down 28 after Raychik hits a couple of free throws. Roberts backing down. It'll be Barry far from the basket, not where he wants to be. Matthews in the corner, sails it over the basket. It'll stick. No, it'll go to Geneva. So Matthews continues to try to find his shot. Griffin Levine and Zach Fenn will check out. So with Millhouse and Harvey headed to the bench, we officially have all 5 starters not currently in the game with 14:27 to go. And you have to imagine they may be done, but of course the score will dictate that. Raychik stepping in, now stepping back. Jump shot no good. He really cannot buy a basket today. He is 1 for 6 from the floor. Barry charging hard, nearly loses it. Levine looking for help. It'll be Barry, and he's been successful here, but he won't back down Raychik this time, and he's hobbling a little bit. Not the smoothest possession here, but let's see what Levine can come up with. Matthews
Like a 3.
will be called for the travel. So really
Barry,
the first time we
comes
saw
up a little hobbling there, and it looks like he's better now, as Abdullah Roberts will head to the bench.
really the first time in a while we've seen the offense stall a little bit. There's been so much movement and fluidity.
Well, you mentioned the starters not being in, but I wouldn't say that that's an excuse or anything, because Trinity, with some of the guys they have out there now, I feel like are capable of being in that starting position if called upon. And I'd say that in the last 2 years we've seen, more starting lineup changes around the country in total. Just, guys getting a little bit of an illness or just precautionary because they've got an illness. And it's been really weird seeing different lineups at a higher rate than usual, I would say. And then you see somebody like Geneva come in, and it's, pair of brothers and Massey, pretty much day in, day out.
And even today, the Tigers started off with a very different lineup. We highlighted Nate Thompson getting his first career start. Jacob Millhouse in there as well. They were filling in for Caleb Jenkins and Tanner Brown, who are both out with injury. Zach Fenn misses that second free throw, but Jenkins and Brown will each be out for at least a little bit. Got to talk with Tanner Brown yesterday. Injured his calf in practice, and he had been playing so well. Scored at least 20 in the last 2 against Centenary and St. Thomas. And then just in practice tore that calf turning the wrong way, but hopefully just a few weeks out and he can return because he was playing very confident basketball. But to the point of different guys getting an opportunity with 2 starters out, it was Millhouse and Thompson, and now the likes of Matthews with that rebound, Levine stepping up, just allowing Jimmy Smith to see who he can count on as this season progresses into the depths of conference play. Barry trying to back down the defender, but he'll be called for the walk. So we've seen the ups and downs of his post-up moves. A couple looking very confident in the first half, but the last couple resulting in a pass to Levine and then a travel.
Yeah, Massey ever so slightly pulling the chair out from underneath Barry there, and caused just that little bit of double step on that plant foot.
Shot clock down to 10. It'll be Echo with the long-range shot off, and the rebound for Barry. Next stoppage will give us our under-12 media timeout. Grayson Herr near the lane, gets his own miss, puts it back up and in. Grayson Herr, 5 points now, and someone who Coach Smith highlighted as a guy who will get more playing time, and asked him about some of the new guys, some of the freshmen, and Coach Smith saying, well, Grayson Herr isn't necessarily a freshman or a young guy, but someone who will get more playing time than we've seen in the last couple of years, and already this year has more points than his first 2 combined, and he's got 5 today, so we're getting contributions from all over this Trinity roster. So we head to this under-12 media timeout. Trinity 66, Geneva 35.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it looks like, Geneva, with both Raychik and Tipton being down, it's almost as if they're playing without their identity at the moment. But the school itself, the identity, Geneva. Tell us more.
Yeah, Geneva College, already highlighted it being in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. That's 31 miles north of Pittsburgh. But they're called Geneva for a very specific reason, and you might say, oh, well, it sounds kind of European. Well, that's the aim of their school name. Geneva College, named after Geneva, Switzerland, because that is the home of the Reformed Christian movement, and Geneva College, a Christian school following that movement, and they named their school after it. But unfortunately for them, their defense has looked a lot like Swiss cheese today.
And it has, and you kind of wonder, as we get back to the game here, like they get a little shell-shocked early, start to fight back, the shots aren't falling, and then Trinity just, over 50% from the field, but a lot of their stuff has been easy on the inside, and then that's opened up some outside shooting, and for Jacob Harvey's 5 of 8 from downtown, so 15 points coming from him. It really has just evolved into a situation. You lose 2 guys, and the game just starts to unravel for you. This is their last non-conference game of the entire season. They only played 5 non-conference games all year, and yesterday and today being almost 40% of their non-conference schedule. And so they'll get back into the PAC, where I feel like they'll probably feel a little bit more at home, and they've gotten off to a great start at 5-1.
And they've got a couple of really big games coming up. These non-conference games, always an opportunity to show what you have and measure yourself up against teams from other parts of the country, but the reality is, for most conferences, all it takes is winning that automatic bid, and they're in a pretty good spot to do so for the very first time. Geneva, a very storied program, as Fenn takes the ball away. There is his first steal. Gets it back from Levine and puts it up for 2. Look what I found, Zach Fenn.
Levine's going to be begging for the assist on that play.
Now contesting the shot, forcing a tough one for Bertovich, and make it 2 steals actually for Fenn, so he is right at his average. 20 on the year in 10 games, and look at the post-up from Williams. It'll be no good, but a rebound for Grayson Herr. Levine from distance, going to be off and rebounded for Geneva, but talking about their opportunities in the President's Athletic Conference. Currently, there are 4 teams with 1 loss in that conference, Geneva one of them, and they will face 2 of those other teams as they go home to start conference play. They've got A date with Westminster coming up in Beaver Falls, and then the big one against Washington and Jefferson. Washington and Jefferson winning the pack a year ago. And so if they want to win it back this year, Geneva, they've got to get past Washington and Jefferson. And they've got a big matchup coming up. Williams is 3, no good. Just 10 years playing Division III basketball for Geneva as they get a floater from Triplet. But Coach Jeff Santercero has been there for much longer than 10 years. This is his 27th year as head coach for the Geneva Golden Tornadoes. He is the all-time win leader. And another great move by Zach Fenn to get a couple more. He's up to 7. And great to see from Fenn, as Coach Jimmy Smith saying he loves his defensive effort in there. Will be called for the reach and foul from behind, but saying now he really has to work on his offensive confidence in getting it to the same spot. And the last couple of possessions, he's looked very aggressive.
Yeah, good defense can translate into easy offense. I think he's been a little bit of a recipient of that, but it's great to get a little bit of that confidence underneath you. Easy layups, build a little bit of confidence, and you start feeling like you got the shot. And when you feel good about a shot, usually you knock it down.
Knocking it down there for the 3 is Trevor Tipton. He's up to 8. Garcia in the corner will try to answer. That's Kevin Garcia. First time we've called his name. Ball saved by Fenn. And the Tigers will get another shot at it, up 30. Jacobs down to Garcia. Pulls up and connects. Kevin Garcia, the freshman from Laredo, Texas, gets on the board. He had some good showings earlier in the year when those guys that we've talked about throughout were out with the flu. Had a career-high 11 in November. Hasn't seen a ton of playing time today, but he is in there with Grayson Herr, who gets another bucket.
Grayson Herr.
And the ball will rattle out of bounds. We'll stay with Geneva, but the under-8 media timeout on the way. But we'll continue to stick around with you for some more story time. We keep saying Geneva's a storied program, but how could they be so storied if they've only been in Division III for 10 years, right? But you thought 1914 was a long time ago?
Yeah, I mean, that was a long time ago.
Was a long time ago. Well, how about 1892? Does that sound like a long time ago?
That sounds like a pretty important date in basketball history, too.
It is a pretty important date in basketball history because just a year after James Naismith invented basketball, the first ever college basketball game was played at Geneva College. It was played between intramural teams at Geneva, and then a year later they played New Brighton YMCA, and that has been acknowledged and respected as the very first college basketball game ever. And who better to ask than James Naismith himself? And he said in his book titled Basketball, Its Origin and Development, so that sounds like a book about basketball to me. He says it was Charles Bymes, the physical director at Geneva, who saw the game played on vacation, and he brought it to Geneva. They were the first college to play it, and now over 100 years later, we are still playing the great game of basketball. But Geneva College, known as the birthplace of college basketball. Who would have thought?
Yeah, huge thanks to all of those that started it at Geneva. And, it's amazing to see what it has become. And great to see that, a program like Geneva is still playing and playing at a high level, kind of carrying that torch as they go forward.
They were a very successful NAIA program, making 8 NAIA tournament appearances. They made the transition to Division III 10 years ago, and they're still looking for their first trip to the playoffs. They've had a good start to the year conference-wise, and will look to continue it as they get a three-pointer here from Trey Barker. So you have to imagine they'll be disappointed losing to Southwestern yesterday on a nail-biter and getting beaten here by Trinity, but they'll go back home, take what they can, and try to recover for pack play. Grant Jacobs from deep, and Grant Jacobs connects, and welcome to the box score, not just today, but this season. Grant Jacobs, a sophomore from New Braunfels. We've got a unicorn sighting, Josh.
Yeah, you want to talk about strange mascots?
What's strange about a unicorn?
Well, I'm just happy he transformed into a tiger. That's the important part.
The score 77-43. Tigers have hit their last 4, getting contributions from every corner of the roster.
Yeah, and obviously, once this game was completely out of hand, an opportunity here for, I would say both teams. If you're Geneva, you look at it and you're not happy with what happened here today, but at some point you say, okay, hey, this game's over. And, as we go to our bench, guys, just treat it as a 0-0 from this point forward. Let's see if we can go out there and, kind of win the last 8 to 10 minutes of this game, and kind of get a positive start to how we want to go into our next few games, especially since our conference, and they're going to mean something. This one really doesn't. A nice knockdown 3 again from Tipton, and he's into double figures. And so, and then on Trinity's side, a lot of guys that haven't had an opportunity to see the floor a whole bunch. Hey, you're still facing some, quality starters out here from Geneva, and, an opportunity to go out there and show what you can do. Player control foul going against Garcia.
What you gotta love about this performance, among many things, is that Jimmy Smith's wish came true. In my meeting with him, asking him the direct question of what will be the sign that your team is playing well, and he gave me a whole bunch of factors, but he ended up by saying that this team just needs that blowout win in which everything clicks. He feels that his team needed to understand and sense what it is that happens when things go right. And I'd say 77-46 in the second half certainly qualifies as that blowout win that Coach Smith was looking for. And he also said, if you remember a year ago, at the same time, at the Leslie Robinson Christmas Classic, Trinity played some of their best basketball of the year against Alma and against Calvin. And that really catapulted them to their run through the conference and into the NCAA playoffs for the first time in several years. And he was hoping that this Christmas holiday time, not only getting to practice, but now getting to face some non-conference foes, would do the same for his team. And I'd say that they're going to be feeling pretty confident after this win. And they'll get another chance to get back out there tomorrow against Wisconsin Stevens Point. But it's almost as if Jimmy Smith manifested a blowout win into the world.
Yeah, key here for Trinity is not to, ride this high in the wrong way for tomorrow, because Stevens Point's going to come in here. They're a very tough team. So you got to kind of, enjoy what you did today, but also forget about it real quick, because tomorrow's a completely different situation. And they'll get a chance to see what Stevens Point has against Southwestern. That game happening, scheduled time for 5 o'clock, but I would imagine we're going to see it maybe shortly after 5. We've got a women's game here. The Tigers returning home. They'll take on Puget Sound following this one. So Tiger fans, stay right here. We'll have the game live here on the Tiger Network. And then have the neutral game, Southwestern and Stevens Point, here this evening.
And it's just so fun to hear those names that you've rattled off: Puget Sound, Geneva, Wisconsin, Stevens Point, really having teams from all over the country. And we're not the only ones who enjoy having them down here. Talking to Coach Santercero of Geneva, saying that they were so excited to be down here in San Antonio. They got here over the weekend, had a couple of free days in San Antonio as they take the ball away here. Ends up back with Trinity, though. Cole Anderson out to Zach Austin, puts it up, and won't go home for Austin, but they got to go to the Riverwalk, had dinner as a team. They went to the Alamo, and they've also done some community service, saying that in fulfillment of the mission of their university, always looking to help the community. And so they helped deliver supplies to the homeless population here in San Antonio. They also were planning to volunteer at a church. And so they've really gotten the full San Antonio experience, volunteering, enjoying the sights. They were even planning a trip to Fiesta, Texas. Not sure if it ended up happening. He said he was doubting it because of the rain and cold in San Antonio, but really nice to hear what the teams get to enjoy when they come to the Alamo City.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and you love to hear that, especially as you look, as what Division III basketball means, and it's fantastic to hear, it's easy to make a trip and go somewhere and play. It's another to embrace that whole idea of being a student athlete, but also, as you said, the ideals of who they are, what their university stands for, and what they stand for, be able to come in and do those types of things.
Raychick continues to fight down low. We'll get a trip to the line. Ryan Raychick with just 4 points today. Transferred into Geneva from Gannon University to complete the quartet of brothers. He, along with his brother Mark, from Prince Frederick, Maryland. First free throw is good for Raychick. Coach Santercero saying that Raychick is just such a tremendous player that often gets overshadowed by Lyle Tipton. All the headlines go to him, averaging 28 points a game, but saying Raychick is someone who gets down in the trenches, is a go-getter, and even tries to tell him sometimes slow down. He goes 100 miles per hour all the time that he has to say maybe go 80 sometimes. But it is just in him to keep going at full speed. So it's been a tough weekend for him, but he gets a couple of free throws there. We've got Zach Austin open in the corner. Can't get it to go. The bench ready to erupt with excitement every time one of their teammates gets an opportunity, as these are some guys that haven't gotten a whole lot of playing time. Some looking for their first points as a Tiger. They have 4 minutes to work with here as Trinity up 78-54 now with a nice turnaround shot by Raychick. You've got Zach Austin out there with Kevin Garcia, Grant Jacobs, Cole Anderson, and here in the corner is John Adamczyk, and you can see how wild they're going on the bench. Ball swinging around to Anderson. Austin in the opposite corner. And the shot clock down to 10. Garcia backing down, kicking it to Jacobs. We'll have to put it up eventually. It is Austin off the front of the rim. Geneva still has a couple of starters out there, but they too have put in some new names. You've got Braden Costia, the freshman. Raychick continues to put it up, though. No good on that last one. An 11-1 run for Geneva, but the lead continues to be a large one for Trinity as they ballooned it up to 30. So they had room to work with. Cole Anderson backing down Raychick. Won't get it off the glass. Ball taken away. Spun around. It'll be an open three, missed by Geneva, but the miss goes right back to him, and the foul going against Trey Barker, the freshman from Apex, North Carolina. We've got our final timeout, but we'll continue to stick around talking about how nice it is for Geneva to be here, and Coach Santercero saying he's wanted to make this happen for a long time, telling me he served on several regional and national committees with Pat Cunningham, the former head coach of Trinity men's basketball, and they always thought about the idea of making it happen. And then in the last couple of seasons, Coach Santercero able to connect with Jimmy Smith and finally said, let's do it. Let's put it on paper, put it on the schedule. And they made it down here to San Antonio, and we've been very glad to have them here. An exciting game last night against Southwestern, and it hasn't gone their way against Trinity, but a nice, talented team that we got to learn a lot about. Lots of cool stories from their school name to their team mascot, and certainly hope to see them in the future.
Yeah, and the outcome of yesterday and today is going to be frustrating for Geneva, but at the same time, making that long trip, playing against some different schools, not necessarily, take how good Southwestern and Trinity might be, even on paper or whatever else, but just playing against teams that are not from your area, so you can see what some of the basketball is like around the rest of the country, because Geneva's aspirations are to be a playoff team. And so once you get to the playoffs, you're going to be paired up, ideally it's going to be somebody that you kind of know or from the same type of area, but sometimes there's a team that's flown into your region and that's who you get to face, and sometimes it's kind of like a shell shock of like oh, the pace or the type of basketball they play. It's a lot more physical than we were used to, or it's a lot faster than we've been used to. So it's an opportunity. It's a great opportunity, for the guys to, at least if they can get into that position later down in the year, have something to draw back on and be like, hey, okay, we've seen this. We shouldn't, this shouldn't be something new to us, and now we can quickly adapt to it so that when the games matter, that they can have something to draw off of and play a little bit better with. And so, we saw it a lot in volleyball this year. We saw it in football, Division III, teams, high-caliber teams, not necessarily scheduling the easy games because it's close or, that's the team we think we can beat or whatever else. But teams really starting to say, like, hey, let's face some of what we consider to be the top talent or talent that's very close to where we think we are. And let's start playing those games and let's start, learning how to be better, from that point forward. And I think it's just been phenomenal at the Division III level to see that here early on with a lot of teams making those out of conference, because it's not easy to schedule these out of conference games. I mean, we're from Texas. We understand, the travel logistics of having to play just about anybody. But, if you're a team in Pennsylvania, you've got so many teams around you that you could draw from. To make the effort to make a trip like this, it really does pay dividends. Maybe not immediately, but this is something that they will be able to draw off of.
And ultimately, I think it just helps the game grow. You saw it at the Division I level. You mentioned the sport of volleyball. One of the most exciting parts of that were people saying, well, the Big Ten and the Pac-12 for the first time ever weren't in the Final Four, and that's a result of the game of volleyball growing across the country. Well, basketball, and we highlighted James Naismith, and we know it's a popular game, but it can always continue to grow, especially at the D3 level. And so showing different schools what is out there, what is available, and how good of basketball is being played in corners of the country that you could have never imagined can only help to make the game a better place for everyone. Geneva continuing their big run here, 8-0 run over the last 3 minutes. Won't be ended by Cole Anderson, a more extended 15-1 run, but the lead still at 20 for Trinity. Another three-point attempt coming up. Will be short there for Felix, spinning down low, unable to finish, but a nice attempt there by Alex Strzok. Zach Austin won't hit the layup. A battle won by Jacobs. Garcia 4-3 rattles out. And you see down to the final whistle here, the hustle and the effort from both teams. You love to see it. This is a Trinity team with aspirations to return to the playoffs yet again. They were ranked 18th to start the year. As a foul going to be called, Danny Lauer getting the bucket and the opportunity at the line. But for Trinity, ranked for the first time since 2004 to start the year. They made the playoffs for the first time since 2014 and won a game in the playoffs for the first time since 2012. So it's a program that is still on the rise, still developing, and they all want to get back there. And if they play the type of basketball that they played today, they just might be there. The three from Jacobs off, rebounded by Anderson, and then taken away by Costia. The seconds dwindling down in San Antonio, but a nice finish for number 4, the freshman from Minerva, Ohio. And maybe one more shot coming up for Trinity before wrapping things up. It'll be Adamczyk. The three is off for him. And now Geneva could wind it down. But it's going to be a Trinity Tigers victory at the end of it. Costia puts it up from the corner, rims out, and now Garcia collects it. And the Tigers can dribble it out. What a performance for the Trinity University Tigers. A 78-61 win that really should have been a lot more had they kept their foot on the pedal. But a much-needed blowout here for the Tigers, beating Geneva and improving to 6-4 on the year. And where do you even begin to look? Jacob Harvey leading the way with 15 points, all of them coming from three-point shots, and Ben Hanley with 14. The biggest question with him is how is he doing? We certainly hope he's okay. We'll definitely try to talk to him after this game to check in. A.J. Clark rounding out those in double digits, but then you just look everywhere. Abdullah Roberts, Zach Fenn, Grayson Herr with 7 points. The contributions really came from every part of the roster, Josh.
Yeah, and it's one of those big team wins. You got to feel great about everything because they game plan executed. Players, team. It wasn't one guy scoring 45 points to kind of pace. Everybody kind of got into the flow. Team finished shooting 44%, but for the most part they shot well over 50% while this game was still going back and forth. It's just one of those things. Enjoy it, feel great about it, and then the test I think comes tomorrow. How do you come back and do we see the same thing? And I think Ben Hanley, hopefully he's good to go tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. On the other side for Geneva, Trevor and Lyle Timpton were the only two in double figures. Massey and Ryan Raychek each had 8. Trevor led the way with 13 points. Only 10 for Lyle, but he exited shortly after we started the second half, re-aggravating that ankle. You just got to build off of it, and sometimes taking a hard loss like this can really bring a team closer together. So if they can build upon that and look at it, they've got a conference schedule that I won't say is brutal, but they've got some big games coming up, and if they can re-gel and come back together, they look like they've got all the components there to have a great season. So we wish them a lot of luck, and for Tiger fans, it's great to see. I'm sure there were some questions. We started off being ranked, and I'm sure after you go 5-4, a lot of people are like, "Ooh, was that a big problem?" Right? But it looks like this is the type of team that possibly is living up to that billing now. A couple of flu bugs and everything else kind of puts you back, and you lose some games. They got 2 losses to top 20 teams, and I think a strong statement here. Now 6-4. Tomorrow's going to be big, but if they can find a way to get the win there, then I think they've kind of set that bar high for what we can expect here in the rest of 2022, and as we move into the 2023 half of our season.
It'll be fun, and we are fortunate to have it all for you here on Tiger Network. We're not done yet today. We've got an exciting matchup. If you thought that one was good, can I offer you a top 20 women's basketball matchup? Well, I sure can. Puget Sound against Trinity coming right up at 3 p.m. Meanwhile, for Trinity men's basketball, they will be back in action tomorrow at 2 p.m. against Wisconsin Stevens Point. Thank you so much to everyone for joining us. Thank you to all the people working the cameras, the graphics, the replays to provide you this great broadcast. And thank you to Josh Mochigemba for joining me. We'll take a little break and be back in 25 minutes for Trinity versus Puget Sound.
I'm San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg. I am a Trinity University alum, and I want you to know about my passion for these two vibrant communities. My alma mater is now a nationally recognized liberal arts university, offering fully integrated arts, humanities, STEM, and professional programs. Grounded in the liberal arts, Trinity graduates students who